Hello, lovely. This is Into the Hen House, a podcast for moms with littles. We are joining our voices to a revolution of remembrance. And as mothers, we are rising together and choosing to live, birth, and mother from a place of internally sourced power and deep connection. Join us on this journey as we dive into topics of mindful and intuitive living and mothering, healthy and sovereign living, as well as the often taboo topic of birth trauma, both healing and preventing it. We are your hosts, Andrea,
Caitlin,
and Chantal.
And if you're ready, it's time to jump into the hen house. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to part 2 of our wonderful interview and conversation with Dr. Kristen Mitteness. And we're going to just dive right in and find out a little bit more about the forest school that you've started, or outdoor school.
take it away. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so we live fairly close to a small community, but a well-funded community in Manitoba, and they have some really cool kids programs. So I did not invent this program, but I joined this program when Madison was not old enough to be in it, just because I wanted an excuse. I wanted a parent and child group that was outside, and this was one of the few that I knew of, and it was free. So it was an easy jump in, see what this is all about. I knew the instructor from other programs and I loved her, so I joined it. I learned all about it. She knew how excited I was about it. So when she was planning on retiring, she was like, "Hey, Kristen, do you want to take over this program?" And I was like, "Sure, I'm in. I'm going to bring Madison anyway, so I might as well just run it too." So I've been running it ever since. And we just this year created it into a year-round program. So it used to be just in the spring it's 6 weeks at a time. It's just 1 hour, 6 weeks at a time. And then we do 3 sessions now. So we do a fall session, a winter session, and a spring session.
Okay. What things do you do in it?
Okay, so it is based on a program. There was a set program. We've kind of made it into our own, but we do have a set rhythm to the day. So we start every class with a surprise box. So we have a cardboard box that we put something nature-esque that we're going to use through the course of the day, or that we're going to look for the course of the day. In it, all the kids shake it and try to guess what's inside. They love it's such a great introduction for introducing themselves and getting used to each other in the group, because it's geared for 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. And we get a lot of 2-year-olds. So the 2s and 3s are often a little more hesitant to step away from their caregiver or their parent. Interestingly enough, we have a lot of grandparents who bring their kids to this, which is a lot of fun. So they do that. We do the exact same walking trail every time, a little mini hike where we found I go on it before we start and put these little rubber ducks and plastic frogs that they have to find as they're going through the forest, which they love. Although, and that being said, this last session was the first one I had where the kids were arguing over who got to pick it up. So we had finagle. They each had to pass it to each other once they found it. So that kind of solved that issue. Once we get back, we count all of the ducks and frogs. So we're working on our counting. We do some kind of arts and crafts program. I don't know I'm sure you've done arts and crafts with little kids. It never lasts as long as you think it's going to last in your head. So I'll often have a second one just in case. This fall was really, really nice. So we did lots of chalk. The kids love the chalk. And with the chalk, we often would write out a word, because a lot of them are practicing their letters, and then would go on a scavenger hunt to find whatever we wrote on the ground. They would put it on the word, and that kept most of them engaged. It's nice to have all the parents there, because interestingly enough, some of the kids gravitate to other parents. So they it's kind of fun. It's super fun. And then we might do, if they're getting really antsy, I do a lot of relay races, or how fast can you run to that thing and get back, just to get them moving a little bit more. They usually have lots of energy to burn, or they're just not focused on whatever we're doing, just to redirect so kids don't get too bored. That's my one pet peeve about kids programs, is when the instructor doesn't switch things fast enough, so you are sitting there entertaining your child while you're trying to wait for the next thing. So I try to keep them going. And then at the end, we always wrap up with the book. usually something, so far I've always had something seasonally. So we did lots of books about the fall, and it was so cool. This wasn't intentional because I often had Madison pick out the book. So she had no idea what we were doing. She just like picked out the book for the day. But the book almost always had something that we did or saw during that day. So then we got to discuss that too. So it takes anywhere between like 45 minutes to an hour. The place that we have it at also has a park. So some of the parents will bring like lunch and the kids will hang out at the park afterwards and play. And it's such an awesome way to get outside with kids. And I've utilized it in a way to add more numbers and letters. And so they're learning, but it's fun, it's fun to see the kids progress.
Cool. What time of day is the one that you do? I'm thinking, wow, this is such a nice segue maybe into lunch and then
it is
because they've had such great time outside.
Exactly.
Tired.
Exactly. It's from 10 to 11, which I love because you don't have to rush out of the house in the morning. Like I find 9 a.m. programs hard to get to on time. You get there for 10. And I mean, as a parent, like some people roll in early, and if you do, you play at the park, and some people roll in a little bit late, but they know we're going on the walk, so they know where to find us. And then it's super easy. Have lunch, go have a nap.
Unreal. I love it.
Yeah.
I can't
And what a nice way to build community too.
Yes. And the amount of people you meet in the community, because interestingly enough, we're in like Old Headingley is where the program is at the community center. So we do get a handful of kids that can walk there from their house, which is also super fun.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, okay, this is, earlier when we were talking, you had said yours is kind of a mini forest school because it is that 1 hour a week.
Yeah.
What are some other programs that maybe you've heard of? Where can you go from that, I guess is where I'm going.
Like me personally, or if someone wants more of that?
Let's do both.
Okay.
Where can you take what you're creating?
Yeah. My dream would be to have a local forest school as an alternative to actual school and daycare, with set instructors, like some type of curriculum, but not like a super strict curriculum per se, and not a strict schedule. Thank goodness I don't have to make the decision about what I'm going to do with my daughter for school yet. But the thing that I'm most scared of, and this seems like a ridiculous thing to be scared of, is drop-off time. Like I have the luxury of I can drop off my daughter at daycare whenever I want. I rarely have to be to work before 10 a.m. So like our mornings are casual, and I really, really appreciate not having that morning rush. Like thinking about trying to get a child ready for a bus for like 8 a.m. or earlier seems
it seems horrible to me.
Yes.
It's really, really hard.
Yes, really hard. And not a hard that I want to deal with all the time. So I would love to have something local as an alternative to both daycare and I say daycare because our daycare is like busting at the seams and there aren't enough spaces here. So, and I think a lot of parents, not every parent, but a lot of parents would be willing to pay a little bit more to have daycare, especially if it's something like that where they could choose 1 day a week or 5 days a week. They have the alternative, but then also transition them into school. Now, there are a few smaller programs around Winnipeg. Fort White has a program. The Discovery Children's Center has a program. There are a few little programs, but it's not a lot. But the more and more parents you talk to, people want it.
Yes. Every person that we talk to about these kinds of opportunities are like, oh my goodness, thank you so much for sharing this with me. I've been looking for something like this. I didn't know where to look or how to look or what to search for.
Yeah.
It's really neat for me when I think back to when I was in chiropractic school. There was a couple I went to school with. Their daughter was 3, 4, 5 kind of through our time of school, or 2, 3, 4 through our time of school. And they had found a forest school or something very similar to it near to our chiropractic school. And I remember that was the first time I'd ever heard of something like that. Like I didn't really know what that meant. And where she went to school, like they had a big focus on outdoor time. There were multiple ages in one classroom. And they did things like, if today we're learning about clouds, we're gonna read a book about clouds. We're going to get the names of the clouds. We're going to sit and draw the clouds. And now we're going to go outside and lay on our backs and look at the clouds. And I just thought, this is the coolest style of learning I've ever heard of. It seems way more geared towards multiple different learning types. We know that not all kids learn the same way. It seems way more geared to the attention focus abilities of young children. I don't think it's reasonable to expect any child is going to sit in a desk and learn for the duration of a school day. I think that's a laughable concept. And I think it really meets them where they're at and still provides knowledge, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and gives room for play. And I think this actually was on the 1,000 Hours Outside podcast, but there's a forest school or an outdoor school that's the parents all homeschool, but then they get together for this kind of secret
Yep. And
forest
that's,
school.
well,
Because
it's
it's not accredited or anything like that, I don't think.
Uh-huh.
And I have no idea what it was called, so I don't think I'm getting anyone in trouble. But
well, it's the perfect combination of homeschool, because plenty of people want to homeschool, but not everyone. It's really hard to not have two working parents. So yes, you want to homeschool your kid, but one of you probably has to go to work for at least, even if it's not full time. Like, I don't work full time, but I still want that ability to homeschool my child. And I think this kind of marries those two things together really well, because you get a lot of that outdoor time, but a lot of those homeschool principles and like-minded people around you. And those are the type of people you want your kids hanging out with. I didn't really think about this. This was my like partner's concept, is like, he is nervous about our child hanging out with kids of parents who have very, very different values than us. Because that does influence the things you're going to let your child do and the things that they're going to learn. Where when you go to things like this, and I'm going to say this is not the easy way out, it's a little bit harder. You get parents who are willing to put in the hard, and you get a different type of parent who is interested in it with different values. And I think there's something about that.
Yeah. Well, and your kids get a lot more time to play too. Like there's, I don't know, I think it's based on research, but I had heard an interview and it's like, you know, you let your kids go out in nature and be bored but you know, it's like in 15 minutes, they maybe have started to find something they're interested in. 30 minutes in, okay, they're kind of starting to get started with things. 45 minutes in, all of a sudden the magic is flowing and they're really into it, and they're like, you're getting all this wonderful brain development and problem solving skills and collaboration and, you know.
Yeah, apparently
all
45
this
minutes.
Wonderful stuff.
Yeah. Is that magic number, because it does take kids, I mean, we've all seen it. It takes your kids a while to warm up to what they're doing. And in a traditional school system, they're switching tasks that often. So you don't actually get deep into a task until you're past about that 45-minute mark.
Yeah, well, and even when I went to school, it was like we had a 15-minute recess and a 15-minute recess, and then there was an hour for lunch, but only 30 minutes of that was outside. If the weather allowed.
To the cafe, like you went to wherever you ate your lunch, whether it was in the classroom or in the school's cafeteria, and then you went outside.
You know, and then you go outside for 30 minutes, and you know, and it was. But I think of that, and I'm going, wow, like a lot of schools now are cutting all recess.
And I know that many kindergarten programs are still largely focused around playing. Yeah. But I can think back to even in grade 1. I can picture the classroom I was in. We all had a desk. You had all your school supplies. You did your lessons. You did your workbooks. Like at grade 1. So we were what? 6 years old? It's so young.
Yeah.
It's so young. Go outside and play. And you know, I have no research to cite, but you see it everywhere. People talking about when kids don't have the opportunity to be bored, then they don't get into that place where that creativity starts flowing. So I'm sure that ties in with the 45 minutes, is that their system needs to unwind. They need to be able to drop into whatever it is they're doing. Then their brain needs to be able to start to think. They need to be bored for a minute to even start thinking about, well, what do I need to do to entertain myself and to make fun? Yeah. That I need something to do, because if you're just always having something to do, you never have to think about making something to do. And then, that sweet spot hits, and now it's really fascinating to me when you see kids who are in the zone, like where you're like, wow, like I remember she doesn't do it as much anymore, but Lennon used to get really into a task and she would hum. And it was like, she'd be like reading her book to herself. Oh, like she's really in the zone right now. And we would very intentionally, if she was in her humming place, we would leave her alone. She does not need help. She is okay. She's learning, processing. I don't know what the sound means or what's going on for her, but she is good. Like,
I love it.
Yeah, it's like that with my daughter sometimes too. I don't know that sometimes she'll hum, but not always. But every once in a while it's like, wow, she's really into what she's doing. And I mean, she's only just turned 2, and this was already maybe just past a year. I mean, for like 25 minutes, she will fully occupy herself. Now, that doesn't happen every day,
right.
necessarily, but like a handful of times in a month. And I'm going like, this girl is like 30 minutes in, and I'm just like doing my thing, editing the podcast or whatever. And I'm like, wow, she's doing great. Like she doesn't need anything. She is happy.
I love that. And what a luxury as a parent to recognize that and not have to intervene because you have to be somewhere at a certain time. Like that's
or you have to, whatever it is.
Well, even I remember I would have been maybe 5. We lived just outside of Steinbach in Manitoba, which is small. It was at the time quite a small community, and we had 5 acres of land. And I was playing on the trail somewhere, and I had my rubber boots on, and there was a puddle because the ground kind of dipped right there, so that like the water was pooling. And I was like, I'm gonna make a bridge. Well, I put logs across little logs and sticks across the water. And I don't know how long I played running back and forth from one side to the other. And it was like someone was chasing me, or I was doing something, or I went to go get something. And I mean, someone watching would be like, this looks so boring. Like she's literally just running across this puddle on these sticks, like back and forth and I was always very good at playing. Like I could play hours by myself, no problem. I'm like, don't interfere with me. Don't give me toys. Like all I need is this. I don't need anything else. I'm good.
Isn't it neat though to be able to recognize that? Like I can fully admit I have been guilty of it a time or two. We were very, very conscious for Lennon's first year. No screens, no shows, no, she doesn't have an iPad. She didn't get anything on a TV, etc. And somewhere between 1 and 2, a small shift happened where it was like, we want to try doing a family movie. And so we watched it, we watched like old school from the, whatever it is, 60s or 40s Jungle Book. We found cartoons from when we were a kid. So there are 3 things she watches if she wants to watch something. One is that movie Spirit with the horse. I really appreciate that there is very little talking. There are horse sounds. It is so low stim. It's not even fun. I can have it on and get something done, and she can be watching. But then I have moments where I'm like, hey, she doesn't need a distraction. She just needs to be part of what you're doing. And so I have fallen guilty of, here, put this on. I need 5 minutes or 10 minutes to do a task, and getting that done. And I try not to put guilt on it because everyone does what they need to do. But sometimes it's nice to be reminded that if I didn't put the thing on for her, she would find something to do. She would play. She would be creative.
I mean, we did, but I think there's also something to say for when you are parenting all day long and you really do need 5 minutes to yourself. And if that's the worst thing you're doing, you're doing very okay.
Ted, if you've never watched it, 10 out of 10 recommend. Or old school Clifford, where it's low stim when it's so old that it blocks your screen because it's only been recorded as a full screen. Like it doesn't have a wide capability. It is what it is. And yes, when we've talked about like when one parent for sure has to be at work, and possibly both, but when one parent has to be at work all day and the other parent is parenting all day, sometimes you really do need 5 minutes.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, when I feel like when we lived less nuclear and individualistically, you often had neighbors and other kids running around regardless of the age of your kid. So you would get those 5 minutes together because your kid was playing with other kids. Like as soon as you add other kids into the picture, they do keep themselves occupied very well for quite a long time. So the new stats that have came out just recently is that even though parents are working more now, we're also parenting more than ever before because our kids don't have those same interactions. Like think about your parents. Your parents were not around reading you books all day on the couch and hanging out with you. Like there's been plenty of times I've been hanging out with Madison. I'm like, my mom would have never done this because I would have been playing with other kids most of the time, whether they're my neighbors or my siblings. And now that we have less siblings, we have less neighbors who are having kids. We don't have that like group babysitting. It's not even babysitting, but playing. Like
just community.
We do now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we have largely smaller families.
Oh, for sure.
You even have your own 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, or if you're my dad, 8 siblings.
Right.
To raise the roost together.
Yes.
Like I noticed that at our family gatherings. So we are still a family who, Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, my dad's entire extended family gets together. So it's all my aunts, uncles, cousins, my cousins' children, etc. And I'm like, wow, we go and we're there at this gathering for 3, 4, 5 hours. And I sometimes hardly see Lennon. Which is wild to think. She wants to go play with her cousins. And they want to play with her, right?
Mm-hmm.
They come and get you when they need something, or if someone took a ball to the face or whatever.
Of course.
But they largely just play together. And it's really neat.
Yes.
Really neat.
And figure it out. And it's so fun to see. I have a question for you about that. When you did family gatherings as a kid, were you guys often inside or outside doing it? Or a combo of both?
Often inside.
Okay.
And I can distinctly remember in my grandma's teeny tiny house, all the cousins would be playing hide and seek, or we might go we were probably in the backyard a lot. My grandma had a big garden, even though it's so funny to think if I were to go look at it now, it's a tiny house in a tiny yard. I know exactly where it is. I've driven by. But as a kid, my grandma had a huge yard and a huge garden, and I can distinctly remember we would have pitchforks or shovels and we'd shove them into all the flower beds and wiggle them. We wanted to catch the worms. We wanted to dig in the mud. I can remember being in the front yard and we would play across 2 to 3 neighbors' yards. We'd be playing. We didn't necessarily extend further than that. So we were always visible to the adults.
Yeah.
I had an uncle who lived maybe 4 or 5 doors down. So maybe we went as far as my uncle's house, or my aunt and uncle's house, but just running through front yards, running through backyards, or playing hide and seek inside. Or I can also remember we spent a fair bit of time, all of the cousins jumping on grandma and grandpa's bed, which was probably a super no-no. It's how I broke my arm.
But you were active. No one was sitting on screens because it wasn't an option. But it's so different now.
And I couldn't even tell you what my aunts and uncles were doing.
Yeah, no.
Because all the kids were just doing whatever kids do. When I think about it, I actually have no idea where. Maybe somewhere in the living room, maybe somewhere in the kitchen helping clean. Some were clearly outside with us.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and it was the best.
It was the best.
Uh-huh.
It was the best. I imagine that Andrea is just tending to a little one for a moment. So I just want to ask this last question. We've kind of sprinkled this in throughout, but for parents who do want to be more involved with outdoors time or to be involved with a forest school, what are some ways that they can do that? We kind of talked about if you have a town Facebook page or community email or whatever, start your own outdoor club. It's really easy to Google forest school near me, and they do exist.
Yeah.
Are there any other resources you have or know of to share with the listeners?
Ooh, resources specifically. Check if you have local community centers, because more and more of them are doing outdoor programs. There was one that we used to be part of that just started an outdoor program. So they meet at the park instead of inside the community center. Some really cool ideas are putting your play structures in your front yard instead of your backyard, because that will entice more kids to come and you can see them out your front window. Don't hesitate. Kids can get outside at any age, from newborn. Put them in the carrier, get a good stroller for your area. you can do more stuff outside. It doesn't have to be for long chunks. Like, start small, just step outside and make sure, I mean, it's having good gear makes a big difference, whether it's an appropriate jacket for your weather or those types of things for your kid.
Ski attachments for your chariot.
Yes. Yeah. So sometimes the initial gear that you need, especially if weather is crazy, it is a little bit more, but it pays off so fast, and you can find stuff secondhand all of the time. So yeah.
I think that's a really good piece for people who are maybe wanting to start exploring outdoors things and not sure what their children might enjoy. You don't have to go buy everything.
No.
Go on your marketplace page, go check your thrift store.
Yeah, absolutely.
So people are always selling all of the children's gear.
Yeah. And kids are way more resilient than us as adults. Like, they will be more than happy to be outside. It's usually us that are over it and want to go in. And it doesn't matter the weather. Like, kids love rain and puddles. They love snow. They love building forts. Like, just let them run wild.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. It was so great having you on the podcast, and I'm really excited to see how this new format plays out, and just for our listeners to get to hear everything you shared. Is there anything else you want to say before we go?
Just get outside. No, stop making excuses. Just pop out for a couple minutes at a time, and think about ways that you can live the life that you live inside just a little bit more outside.
Amazing. And one last question for you. If any of our listeners want to follow you or be in connection with you, how can they do that? We will drop it in the comments below the post, but just let us know. Is it Instagram? Is there an email list? How can people connect with you?
Yeah, I'm most active on Instagram, so I would recommend that. And then I do have a website with lots of blog posts, lots of ideas on how to get outside with kids, a newsletter that goes out every month. So those are probably the easiest ways to get a hold of me.
Okay, well, we'll share those links in the show notes. Thank you so much for coming on. It was fun to have you.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you. And thank you, everyone, for listening. And definitely go ahead and follow Kristen and follow the show and share, all the good stuff. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening. If you are loving this podcast, please go ahead and subscribe and leave us a review. Both of these really help the show. As you go out into the world this week, know that we are sending you so much love and wishing you a wonderful and beautiful day. And we will see you back here soon.